You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Monday the 29th of September 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Excuse me, clear my throat. And today's been it's not been an utter washout from one point of view, but in terms of getting the writing done towards self-portrait, it's been an utter washout. So I spoke to you yesterday, having done 2,000 words of writing of chapter 12, and then I went to bed. I ended up watching the launch show of Big Brother, which I have mixed feelings about. I mean, there was a couple of characters that were really annoying in OTT on the opening night, and one of them is one of the three that might get chucked out. So basically they're chucking somebody out on night one. So the audience got to nominate the group, the three that would end up going up for eviction, but then I think the housemates, I don't know quite how they chose. Somebody got thrown out last night, but it won't be revealed until today who that was. So that's And I kind of think there's one of the characters that was up for nomination was a big, loud OTT gay guy. But we all know people in the opening night are big, loud and OTT. And then once they're in the house, they generally settle down and become quite normal people. But we shall see. So it was okay. It was done quite well. I don't know. There's a lot of very similar girls. And maybe it's just me being old, but I just looked at them and thought, what distinguishes you from you? Oh, you're the Tory one. Oh yeah, and they had a token Tory. They've had a token Tory every season so far, but at least it was a girl this time. And yeah, so I wasn't quite sure what to think. Anyway, I then went to bed after Late and Live, which is like the companion show. That finished at 11:30, and I went to bed, and I was still awake at 8 o'clock. And I was supposed to be meeting T.G. Campbell for a coffee and a catch up at 1:30, but it didn't happen because, I realised, I'd have to get up at midday, and when I was still awake at 7:30 for 8 o'clock, I just wasn't going to get enough sleep to feel like I was going to drive safely and all of that. So I sent her a message at 7:30 just to apologise and say, look, I've not slept, so can we do it another time? We're meeting on Friday anyway, so it's not like I'm not going to see her. So that was a bit of a shame. And then this afternoon, so she finished reading Empress of the Trees and has given me quite detailed feedback. So we did a Zoom call for about 3 hours, just under, which was very, the thing that came out of it most was that there wasn't that much that needed changing. So I was thinking there'd be lots of challenges around this, that, and don't get me wrong, there were challenges, absolutely. But most of them were fairly easy to resolve. There was a lot of grammatical stuff that I'd somehow missed, which I sorted out as we were going through it. And then I made notes about slightly larger stuff. And if it was anything more than just amending a particular sentence, I thought, well, I'll make a note and come back to it. And yeah, so there wasn't I was really quite pleased, actually, from what she said. The story holds together quite well. There's a couple of little moments that just need a bit more of a build-up or changing. But yeah, nothing that's made me sort of hang my head in shame or go, oh, God, this is months' worth of work. Obviously, there are other people giving me feedback. T.G. Campbell is the second person to give me feedback. And there were some crossover points, absolutely. So as more feedback comes in, I'm just going to basically consolidate it all. So I've got a file set up with notes on each chapter. And once I've got all the feedback in, I'll then go through all those notes and make the decisions about which ones I need to change. So most of the ones, I think, that came in from Tani, they're all sensible stuff, so most of them will get actioned. I think the thing that, this didn't come from today because we'd already had this discussion, but I have a Tory minister in it who is, well, I thought he was meant to be, I deliberately gave him a sort of really silly double-barreled surname, and I kind of, in my head, thought he was a bit of a greasy twat, pardon the language, but actually, he actually came across really well by the sounds of it. He came across as a bit of a creature of integrity, someone who's not actually trying to he's someone who actually wants to do the job he's there to do. And there's a really interesting bit, which again I hadn't quite considered, but there's a bit where he ends up being, he becomes acting prime minister and gets asked if he plans to actually go for the real job, and he says, no, that's not something I want to do. I have no, I can't remember the exact, it was a quote from Yes Minister actually, which I put in for a little bit of a laugh really. That line kind of is a deliberate mirroring of something that got said in the final episode of Yes Minister before it became Yes Prime Minister. But again, Tiny's comment was, when he says that, that he doesn't have any sort of aspirations in that direction, she believes him. So yeah, that was interesting, because in my head he wasn't that honourable a person, but it turns out he ended up being actually quite an honourable chap. So yeah, there was a death scene that we weren't sure whether it was necessary or not, and I think it became apparent that it wasn't necessary. So yeah, so that, really enjoyed the feedback. I have notes for the third draft. I will get more notes as other feedback comes in. But the disappointing thing today is I'm exhausted. I can barely concentrate. I mean, it was okay for that call, but it's 8:30 now, and I'm going to struggle to concentrate. So I will not be getting any work done on chapter 12, which means tomorrow I've got to write the last 2,000 words and edit it. That's a bit of a tall order. It might not happen, but I might give myself an extension of one day into the 1st of October, and then we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I'm going to be nearly there, and I'm not going to berate myself for not quite making it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I'll be back for the final podcast of the month at a similar time tomorrow. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.